him. So he walks in, aura, strong demeanor, walks up, bless you. I'm like, thank you. He puts his shield down and walks out. I'm still looking as he drives out like, really? Who does that? Who does that? So I decided maybe I should look into it. Maybe I should. What I wanted to do was repay the respect that he had given me, which was I'm going to go at least one time. That was my goal. I'm going to go one time to this man's church. So I came in pants and earrings and high heels like you would the Baptist church. I didn't know holiness, probably never heard the word really. And so I came and I immediately thought, wow, these people are glowing. There's a glow and a demeanor about them that I've never seen before. And that's what stood out to me. It wasn't him. There was no hesitation in him. He's already been accepted in my mind because he's very strong. You can tell he lives what he speaks or represents whatever his life. I didn't have any hesitancies with him. But the people is what drew me. It was everyone in the chairs. Because they were living differently than I were.
When
they
you
were
say
doing
glow,
something.
how can you? Did you see them live their life out? Like, what was it?
There's a joy on the countenance of some of those who live here that ministered to me. I'm hiding who I am still. And I have always wanted to be the person that I have expressed myself to be. That's who I want to be all the time. I don't want to go home and cry. I had actually, at the age of 16, I was diagnosed manic depression just because when you have low serotonin levels, as my mother's worried, your father committed suicide, I'm worried that you might, because I'm the one that changed and it impacted the most when he had died because I was the closest to him. So let's take her to the hospital. Let's get her some help, because I changed immediately. My father's gone. And so I'm not going to, I was very strong, very stubborn. I'm not going to, one of my college coaches, two of them actually, wanted me to be on medication for it, just because they had heard that this had happened. Not because they care about who you are or what had happened to you. It's just, I've heard this is going on in your family. This is your history. We want to make it better. I had a coach that said, you're going to come to my office every day at this time and you're going to take this medication. Okay, so that's what I did, It was to cover up. And it kept you very mind-numbed because I had much more of a social nature about myself, So the medication, that was not it. My coach sent me to the team psychiatrist, and I just ended up listening to her the whole time. Like, you can't possibly think I would share my life with you because you get paid to do what you do and me get any help, just being very stubborn, holding in who I was. But that was that experience. So going back to coming to the place and finding those who were radiating a genuine character that was very priceless to me with one opportunity to live life, I felt very bound from being who I wanted to be. And so I saw people not bound, not hiding a sincere love for life. One thing that is imminent in this country is the hatred for living. Who wants to live life when nothing works out? Everything's disgruntled. You murmur and complain every job. The traffic. There's always something to murmur about. So, wow, these people have not practiced that negativity that has consumed me. Honestly. And so, but I was young, 26 or 7, maybe 27, and being close to the world at the time in heart, wanting to look like this and do this, etc., wanting to be very successful. The first time made a huge impact, but when I went out away from those who glowed, I still had the pull of life. And I had asked for a particular, when I was here, I had asked for a particular help with a situation, becoming free in my mind for a certain situation. And a very powerful prayer that pastor had prayed over me was to make her miserable in her sin. And I had never heard anyone pray that before either. Just to even preach sin is unheard of. And so I went out and may have never came back if it weren't for literally him interceding, because I became very miserable. And people were dropping out of my life that I didn't understand. That's a whole nother interview. But when you have, friends, family, loved ones, etc., just falling away out of your life to the point of just pushing you up against a wall to where nothing's in your control anymore, I have to go back to maybe try to seek this and make changes. So I came into the ministry at a time, as I said earlier, where there was 30 or 40 people. Maybe they did start larger, but I only knew of the people that you see now, and I just saw a place that I longed for, honestly. I didn't have hesitancies with the man of Yah. I just wanted to change my life. I just wanted to be happy. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Okay.
I'm just, you answer my question, so this is good. You make a good interview. So yeah. So basically, you went from so you met him at the restaurant. I'm just trying to recap again, and then he brought you back a Bible. Then you thought, let me just
that's it.
Let me just repay
Yes.
the respect by just showing up.
Yes.
And it was that the first time that you showed up that you saw the love that the people had. I mean, you didn't have an issue with him because you already had it set there. So then, did you just start? You came here with pants and makeup,
right?
And no hair. I'm assuming your head wasn't covered.
Not at all.
Like
It was dyed. It was bleached.
I think I haven't seen a picture of you being baptized. I said,
that's
you was baptized with no head cover.
Right. Yes. So right.
Did you get baptized that day?
No, sir. Okay. No, sir. It was after some time. Now it was 7 months from the time that I started coming that I actually moved onto the land. So that was a very short time period of great transformation or meeting a requirement.
At least work at the restaurant?
No, sir. No, sir. So that's another story of how jobs were changing. Things were just literally crumbling around me. The most impactful thing at that point was Pastor becoming a father to me, because I still longed for that, which many girls' daughters would, right? So you have this man that is willing to, even at a distance, love you enough to make an impact or be a mentor or lead you and direct you in life, giving you just even simple advice on decisions, because women are very indecisive. And so just solid, concrete, this is what needs to be done is really just what I wanted or needed to hear. And so I just began to follow the direction.
Did you lose your dad at 16 or 18 when you were in college?
16.
16. So you lost your dad
correct.
At 16. You were very close to your dad.
Very
close. So you lose somebody close, and then Yah brings another father figure in your life and everything like that.
Yes.
Wow.
And so at that time, without the large volume of ministry duties, he was and still is very impactful with mowing the grass and taking out the trash and shoveling the chicken coop and whatever the requirements for the land were. Elder Becker and Pastor Dow were doing it. There were just two men working on a farm, and there wasn't a camera in your face or a huge YouTube channel. There was YouTube with 10 views, and I thought that was really awesome. I truly thought it was time for Yeshua to return when we got 100 views. I'm like, he has got to be near. Like, this is incredible right here. And so after that, I'm done. I'm done guessing. Like, you truly say we would not know when you would return, But so at 100 views, he would take me grocery shopping with him and his wife. I would go wherever he went. He would take me because he had the time to pour into someone else as his daughter. And so I was able to learn him as a father and learn his mind or how he thinks, or actually just see the care and compassion that he administers and how he administers it. I was able to observe that for many years. He also was huge in developing or joining together me and my husband, because he's been just monumental in direction for my husband as a man and me as a woman. So I met my husband living here at this land. He was here, I don't know, 15, 16 years or something before, I'm taking a guess, it was a long time, before I came along or before he had ever gotten married. So he was very influential in directing us. He would ask me, is this the man that you want to marry? Really? And being who he is, because now he is my father. To my heart, he's replaced my father. I'm now healing. I'm thinking, is this the man I'm not supposed to marry? Are you telling me I should be going a different way? But no, he's asking, like, you're going to do this one time, and he's bringing seriousness to a life of foolishness. Like, everything that I'm living is not reality. It is fantasy out there, so.
Now, Pastor Dow's, this. You look at some of the things that some of the charges levied is that he's a racist.
Right.
And so I'm looking at you. You're already
I
Caucasian. You are a
am.
white woman. And but it's interesting that the love that he showed. I mean, just the fact that he came back just for you.
Right.
He told you he'll come back or get you a bite. You didn't know what they did, but it was the very next day he just came back and got that for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that he's poured into you like a daughter. I mean, you see him as a father.
Yes.
And what do you think about when you hear knowing this man? You know him on a intimate level.
Yes, I do.
You knew him even before
Yes.
Straightway became this where everybody had good or bad. Where he's grown from 100 to 100,000. You thought 100. Ooh, yeah, 100
Right.
was awesome. Whatever. Would you hear people saying things like that about Pastor Dow being racist or even negative? But the racist. What do you think about that, or what do you say to those things?
I've learned through his teachings that as a child of the Most High and as a daughter of Pastor, to represent Pastor in character would be to take it as he takes it, and he takes it as, yes, it is persecution, yes, it is opposition, but it's because of his good works, for my love, they're my adversaries, David says. So I rest in his strength, although in the beginning maybe more emotional about it, because what happened in my heart, when we went from 30-something people to, whoa, it's 100 or 70, and it just got bigger, in my heart, the challenges were, why? Because so much persecution was coming and so much hatred. It was like it was trying to destroy our very roots. We were very quiet and peaceable people. We just lived on a land and took care of our own homes, and we don't need this, So you had to recognize that it was for the will of something much greater than you, because I said I would love to live here, thank you so much for even allowing me. Now I've signed up for, cameras everywhere, opposition everywhere, YouTube channel soaring, ministry growing, and my family I don't see anymore. You understand? We used to play dodgeball together weekly. It was super fun. It was just us. We would have campouts before a big feast of Sukkot. We would just have campouts and, clean hot dog, weenie roast, and clean marshmallows and chocolate. We did family things. And so now our family is trying to be destroyed by a greater force, by those who are listening to the enemy and listening to the voices of opposition joining together against us, because we're just quiet and peaceable people. You don't have to come and peer into our lives. You don't have to try to destroy us. You understand? So I was in a transition period and got to, experience a lot of that and grow out of it.
One thing is interesting, and being, obviously being a former athlete, being a celebrity in my own right, and you in the college. It's interesting when you see the nature of people. They sometimes, and Pastor Dow, he's a celebrity, YouTube celebrity, in his own right. And sometimes I think when people see a person on TV, they think they know them, but then they don't even treat them like he's human or not. So when I'm hearing your story, just hearing this side that this is like a father. I mean, you lost your natural father due to suicide, and then you get, God puts a man in your life who poured into you, loved you, showed you that you were valuable, through the love. But then they talk about your dad. It's kind of like they're talking about your dad. But this is somebody's dad. This is somebody that,
yes.
He's impacted your life, changed your life. Yah used him as an instrument to change your life forever,
yes.
You found your husband in this stuff. There's nothing that you can say, well, if you just took Pastor Dow out of the picture, wait a minute, I wouldn't know my husband, I wouldn't know my children. There's so many things that will be impacted.
So many.
So that's why I was just wondering, man, this is... And I think that people don't understand that Pastor Dow, he's a man,
yes.
He's a man who's being used by Yah, but he that's like you said, you play volleyball, you guys or dodgeball, or you guys,
right.
did your hot dogs or whatever. So, and we're going to wrap this up. So
yes.
let me ask you, I got to ask you the $1 million question.
Okay.
And I kind of heard your story, but I kind of want you to share this stuff. So obviously Pastor Dow, started to talk about, biblical marriage and polygyny. So I kind of wanted to, you being a woman here, I'm assuming you had a Western mindset, being Caucasian and everything. When Pastor Dow initially brought it out, and please be raw and open.
Yes.
How did you feel about that and where you are today? But I just wanted to kind of know your initial thought and how you dealt with your initial thought and how you worked on to where you are today.
Okay. The initial thought of biblical marriage or polygyny or multiple wives is always going to be taken according to the rejection or the hurts that you're functioning in at that time. So I thought it was very sick. Very sick. There's no way that it could be right. There's no way that, but what it does to a woman who has been hurt or rejected or dejected, etc., what it does for her is she's at a crossroads of, if I accept it, and then I must say that it's okay for men to do what society's doing. Let me explain. What society is doing is sick and gross and perverse. Homosexuality is everywhere. Men are not faithful. They're not stable. They're not strong. So the backgrounds of the men that we know in our lives is the initial thoughts of the men who are accepting the biblical marriage. So you're saying that you're the piece of shit that every man has ever been to me. Do you understand? So to be able to face that reality and say, you mean a man can impurity lay sexually? Sexually is the hardest struggle in the minds of women, or I should say one of the hardest struggles, the sexual impact of, multiple marriages. So you're thinking, these men that are so perverse or have hurt me or cheated or, etc. in my life, now I'm supposed to say this is okay? And that's what I saw, women falling away, women that were committed to the Father and committed to the ministry. When the Father revealed that knowledge to us, you're at a crossroads of accepting it because he says it and moving man out of the way, or keeping your eyes on man and blaming them that they must be the lustful, arrogant asses that we've always known, if that makes sense.
So when you, just if you could just tell me on the emotion, because there's women that's going to look at this stuff and say, okay, did you just receive it like, this is a great idea, it's biblical, I'm in it. Were you all in it when you first heard about it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now, I remember hearing your story, and I want you to share that story of how you came to be resolved with the possibility. Now, you're the only wife that your husband had that I'm aware of.
Yes.
So how did you become resolved, or if you're not even resolved, I don't even know, but from the thing that I heard in the interview, it sounded like you
very
resolved.
Very resolved. Yeah. Okay, so in a Bible-believing assembly, we function in acceptance. So you are faced with acceptance. And when I was faced with the acceptance, it wasn't my husband is coming to me and saying, I'm going to take on another woman. I think this story is very important. That's why I share, because it's not because my husband is bringing the scenario to me. It's it being spoken. The power of it being spoken brings such a uproar in your spirit that I could literally have thrown my middle fingers up and been like, oh, hell no. I was raging because I didn't want to be hurt. And it felt like that is all that would do to me, So if I accepted it, I would have to, knowing the Father and having a relationship with him by a pastor now teaching me how to pray, by him, being an example in my life, I know that my acceptance cannot be with my voice or my words. I cannot bullshit the Father. I cannot say that this is okay. So I was raging on the inside. I absolutely despised it. I didn't want to see it at all. And to even hear the subject was disgusting, honestly. And I don't know if anyone else can relate, and I'm sure they can on the other side of the camera, but I never went to anyone like foolish and silly laden women do, right? Laden with sins. I never went finding out who agreed with me. Obviously, at the time of the impact of the truth at this ministry, you could tell who believed like me because their countenance was, all right, we're not joyful. We're at a crossroads here. And people were leaving this ministry because of it. So even that was piling on to my mind, saying, really, Father? I mean, are you bringing this to destroy? Is it the enemy? Is it Satan? Is it lustful men? That's the accusation that women are going to hear. Only lustful men would dare think or consider.
Now, this is coming from a man that you see as a father.
Exactly.
Did you think of him as being lustful?
At that time, yes. I didn't think of him being in that, but the accuser of the brethren, which knowing spirits and voices that don't generate from your own heart, is going to come to my mind with some very strong accusations, because you're not going to sway me from someone that I love unless you bring some real stuff, right? Some serious stuff.
So how did you overcome? I remember you were saying you were washing. I mean, that you know the story where you said, and I don't want to give it away, but you were talking about washing dishes or something, and you prayed about it, or you went fasting or something like that.
Yes. All right. So I knew that my will was involved, because through prayer I can see that I'm stubborn and I'm not moving. One thing with acceptance is you have to be able to change. And with my stance and as stubborn as I was about it, I wasn't.
The athletic woman you
are. Exactly. Gung ho. Yeah. I'm not moving. You hear me? And so I understand that that's not a be a Berean and go check it out, and see if it's the truth. I was just not moving. I wasn't checking it out. I wasn't going. I want to see the truth. You understand? So then I knew it was a will issue, because I didn't want to find out, am I wrong? Right? So now you put yourself in. I'm opposing a called Maniyah. It's a very fearful place for me. So I had a lot of meditations, a lot of fear with it, and I knew that in order to accept it, as stubborn as I have been, I'm going to need to fast. And so I prayed and sought the Father about just having my will broken, that I would hear only His truth, not because Pastor was presenting it, but just because you have brought me this way, okay? So as I had gotten direction in my spirit to fast 4 days a week, and I love food. So I thought, that's a long time, 4 days a week? And then I didn't know when I would have to end it. I'm eating 3 days a week for like how long, right? So nobody's going to be really excited about that. So I said, okay, well, if I got this in my spirit, let it come from my husband. If it's going to be 4 days a week, let him say it. Well, he thunders home that day, wife, you need to start fasting about that will. Now, he don't know my emotions, because guess what? Women aren't going to say, I don't really agree with polygyny, and this is why. They're not going to tell their husbands that. No. They're going to act like it does, because why? We're living a fake fantasy world. We're not dealing with our issues. No, we're not, So I'm not going to take my issues to my husband, because especially with polygyny, I'm going to act like I'm even better, because I don't need you to replace me or bring someone else in. I'm going to do even better, than I already am as a wife. So that was me. I'm not gonna mess up. Maybe he'll consider polygyny if I start cutting up or ask him about it. Maybe he'll take another one just because get it? So you got all these thoughts. He thunders home. He's at work all day. I prayed to the Father. I didn't talk to him at all. And he says, 4 days a week, wife. And he's never giving me direction just for the history of our marriage. He doesn't direct me to fast. If I ask him, may I, or I'm going to do this fast, then there's acceptance there. There's perfect communication, but he's not the type that's just, you're not going to do this or do that. Because if I don't say that, our marriages are in question in this ministry, because they don't know how tyrannical our husbands really are. But mine's a very gentle one. So for him to be led in the same way, giving me the 4 days, that's what I did. So I did 4 days for many months, and I was washing dishes in our dining hall facility. And I had truly my first, if you want to say it was a vision, it was something that happened very spiritual in my mind. As I'm washing dishes, I saw my life. I saw it in movie form. I saw the things that were not covered by the blood of Jesus. I saw the things that would have sent me to hell. I saw my actions as a woman in the role of a woman. There was no one else involved. And it flashed so fast, each scene. It would be as if I'm talking to you, I would see that vision. I'm talking to her, I would see that vision. Whatever I was doing, it was all played in movie fast. It was like this. It was so fast that my conscious mind could not keep up or repeat it or tell anyone or say out loud what I'm seeing, because it was too fast. But it's showing me that you have been functioning this way. And all I hear at the end, when the vision of my mind goes away, is my ways are not your ways. And so when I heard my ways are not your ways, I dropped the dish and I froze, because I've never met my maker like that. And many people watching haven't either. And so to see myself like that, or to know that this is my This is my judgment. Believe in hell or heaven if you want to. Believe in God if you want to. But this is the first time he's really revealed himself very personal to me. And so I asked to be dismissed that day. I could not finish. I had so much fear of a mighty creator that I'd never had before. And I left my job asking permission to leave my duty with someone else, which is not something I do, and go try to even cry or communicate to the Father again. So just as Eve was ashamed of her sin, I felt that for many, many, many days. And with Pastor Dow not knowing my background, or that I had seen that, or that I was even fasting, I didn't share any of those intimate details with him. But he calls me up on one Shabbat and he says, "You got something to share?" I didn't say, "I have a testimony, I have something I want to," but he calls me up, "Actually, you got something to say?" It's after service. "Yes, sir." I come up front. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say, I was at a crossroads,
And I think I heard that.
Yes, sir.
But what's the biggest impact that, I know there's a lot that you've experienced. You've been here for 10 years. Or is it 10? 10 years. So
yes.
You've been there before it was famous, and now where it is today. I mean, when I say famous, just more attention to this ministry and everything. What's the biggest impact that this ministry, led by Pastor Dow, the man of Yah, have had on your life?
I now have a stable mind because of the men. I was very unstable. So I speak clearly and soundly because of this ministry, because of Yeshua first and Pastor Dow. I have my mind is everything, if that makes sense, because if you take it, I can't praise Yah. If you take it, I can't serve him. And so I have stability that's been created by very strong, stable men, being, of course, my husband, very influential. And he is a direct product of, if I can say product and be sincere, of Pastor. And so to spend your life stable, to learn how to cook and clean and how to be a mother, balancing your duties, your responsibilities, your discipline, your love, your correction. Do you understand? Every single facet of my life has been given direction. I'm not wandering anywhere. I don't have any questions. And for women, we have to be covered and stable.